Welcome to Byzantine art and the Byzantine Empire. Remember that Constantine moved the seat of the Roman Empire over to Constantinople, which today is known as Istanbul. He converted to Christianity on his deathbed, but the later emperor Theodosius proclaimed religion as the religion of the Roman Empire in about 380, around that year. And Rome fell to a Gothic or a Visigothic king called Alaric in 404, and that officially ended the Western Roman Empire. Okay. About the year 525 is when Emperor Justinian is going to become emperor of the Byzantine Empire, and he's probably the most powerful one that exists during the Byzantine Empire, which ended around the year, believe it or not, 1450, when the Ottoman Turks invaded and overthrew and became the rulers in the Byzantine area. He's going to extend, Justinian, the rule of the Byzantine Empire over, even west, over Italy. And he's going to fund and restore about 30 different churches, and he's going to establish and reinvigorate monasteries across the globe. Mosaics are going to be a major art form in these churches, as well as icons, which are actually not only representations of saints and God, but are also meant to be prayed to, as they would have sort of magical or healing or spiritual powers. Okay. These are some of the terms you're going to want to remember from this lecture. Okay, and we're going to go over all of them. So let's move on. All right, here's where the big change and shift is in the art of the Middle Ages, both in the West and the East, Byzantine and the Roman Empire in the West. From humanism and realism of, say, Rome and Greece, classical realism and three-dimensionality and form and all of those things that we've been seeing are going to be not the case in the art you're going to be seeing now. Here, it's all about the spiritual. Humanism actually is considered to be somewhat heretical, a heresy in the church's eyes, and the church and state become one, most in this case, in all cases at this time period, all in the Middle Ages. Richly decorated manuscripts and book covers, a ban against any sort of three-dimensional art that you actually, like sculpture, that you actually walk around 360 degrees is banned, because that would be too much like idols, and the church wants to stay away from idolatry. Cathedrals are starting to be built. In the West, they're going to use a different type of architecture as opposed to in the Byzantine. And they're going to take their art and their style from not only flat representation of humans, but also Islamic art and patterning, that their love of patterning, and Viking and Celtic art with its love of scroll work and delicate patterns as well, and animal forms being used in art. A lot of animals are even going to represent saints. Okay. Here's where Justinian extended, all in that orange, the rule of the Byzantine Empire in 1565. In about the year 1000, almost 1100, Italy is going to be taken over back by the West again, and the Byzantine Empire is going to start to shrink. Okay, but it originally starts out only in sort of the Turkey and Constantinople area, and that's it. And then it eventually increases its range over towards Italy. Quite a range. So let's talk about architecture in the Byzantine. This is San Vitale and Ravenna, Italy. When Justinian takes over Italy, he says that Ravenna, which is a small town actually in Italy, is the seat of the western part of the empire. Okay, that's the main area for him there. Constantinople is still the main capital city, but Ravenna becomes the one in the west. And he builds this cathedral here on the central architectural cathedral plan. Here's the floor plan, and you'll notice that the nave is in the center of and it's a circle, it's based on a circle, the whole plan is, and in the nave is, well, the area, the narthex is where you would enter. In the main, usually in the main dome of the piece is where the altar usually is here, in this case. This is a centrally formatted architectural plan that will stay and is still used today, even in Eastern Orthodox churches, Russian Orthodox churches, all of those Byzantine-inspired church religions that still exist today still use this central floor plan. We're going to talk about this later on too, and how do you get a dome like that's on this central floor plan usually to sit on a square base. You need to use a pendative, which is on the left. It's that triangular sort of semi-curved spot there. Or you need to use a squinch. In some cases, some churches use both. The squinch is sort of that cutout on the interior that you see that makes the transition from dome to the supports. Okay. This is what the San Vitale looks like inside, and you'll notice it's golden looking, and that's because it is golden. It's coated in tiny gold tesserae, it's called. These little tiles, little tiny pieces of gold glass, interspersed with other glasses to make pictures and things like that. But this is what these churches tend to look like inside. See there's the altar right there, and this is the nave that we're standing in. That's where the people would be standing, the parishioners. Here's just the altar section. In San Vitale, which, matter of fact, Justinian built, but he never visited, surprise, surprise, is the image that's in the church of him in the middle there, with the halo around his head and the crown. That's him. First of all, look stylistically on how he's portrayed. He does not look three-dimensional. Deny the body to save the flesh. We're going to be talking about that in class. Remember, the body is going to be seen as a conduit or way through for sin to enter, like gluttony or lust or greed, okay, those earthly needs. And they can lead you down the path of sinfulness. So deny the flesh to achieve the spiritual. And they're often these images, not only in mosaic but in painted form, these icons have a golden background to them because it's meant to look more spiritual and less earthbound. Here he is actually in the process of being part of the church service. Okay, he's actually, and he's standing next to the Pope right there, and his other attendants. These would be acolytes. Notice the drapery folds look flat. The faces almost are interchangeable, maybe a few different hairstyles. Big almond eyes. Remember, the space is not important. Realistic space is what I'm talking about. Okay? But he's got himself actually so important that he almost becomes an icon himself. I guess Justinian had a healthy ego. On the opposite wall is this mural of his wife, who used to be his mistress. She becomes his wife. She was an actress. That caused a bit of a scandal, shall we say. Theodora and her attendants. She is also being part of the church service with the goblet of wine. And she's got the halo around her crown, so she is also portrayed as someone holy. And again, her all about patterning and the flatness of the imagery of all the figures. The faces between the male and the female are almost indistinguishable because it's just not that important to them. They're stressing other things, spiritual matters. Here's some more penitentives and squinches. Okay, I think the penitive is a little bit more elegant looking. Here is St. Mark's in Venice. This is completely golden on the inside. I can tell you all 3 floors from experience when I've crawled all through this place glimmer with gold everywhere. This place burned down twice while it was being built, and it finally was completed around the year 1650. But it is based on a central basilica plan. This is in Ravenna, and it's a mosaic, and it's got St. Apollinaris there in the middle with the sheep around him. And it's in the apse of the cathedral. Iconoclasm, excuse me. That is something we're going to talk about, or we'll talk about or have talked about in Islamic art. That idea of being careful not to pray towards anything that could be construed as a graven image. And so to create any sort of picture or sculpture, even if it was of a saint, could be conceived of as praying towards an idol. And so iconoclasm puts away with all of that. And during this time period between the year 726 all the way to 842, there was a huge movement of iconoclasm in the Byzantine and the West. And a lot of people were defacing artwork or just not producing artwork at all for churches because it would be conceived of as idolatry. All right. This was particularly strong, this iconoclasm in the East, in the Byzantine. Here is St. Apollinaris up close. Again, he looks very flat, not realistic. He's not supposed to, okay? But this is the way he sort of got his arms up. This is called an orant. Anytime you see somebody with their arms up like that, or sometimes in front of them, like that is somebody who is praising, praying, being subservient to God. Okay, an orant. This is an icon in Egypt. Notice how flat the space is. It's hardly believable that there's any space at all if there weren't any overlapping figures. The big almond eyes, the stylized features. Doesn't even look like the drapes are really hanging on people. This is an early Virgin and Mary, of course, enthroned. We're going to be looking at a few of these. Here's some more icons. These icons are religious imagery, usually in gold, with a gold background. Okay. These 2 icons are of Christ the Pantocrator. When you see Christ holding the Bible, usually it's this bejeweled type of Bible, and he's got kind of slightly a long, stern face, and his hand is up, usually with the finger bent, but anyway, He's acting there as the harsh judge of humanity. This is not the loving Christ. This is the judge, the tough judge of humanity. And you'll notice that one on the left from Greece is above there is very stern looking indeed, with that sort of sour looking expression he's got on his face. Notice how flat he looks in that dome. And it's also been partially defaced. Yeah. On the right, one eye is larger than the other on purpose, okay? But really, this is Christ the Pantocrator again, okay? It's an encaustic painting. Remember, encaustic is painting with wax. But it's got that gold leaf background around his halo. Here we go. These would have actually been prayed to. Icons had magical or spiritual powers.